Are we gonna just pass up on Dre having in-game as his
Oh
second
yeah!
worst? I
Wow!
thought it was a typo.
Whoa!
What is
Wow!
wrong with
Bro,
I didn't
you?
have in game. I got in game a top 10.
I
So
I hate
What is?
I hate
What
Endgame,
the?
and the more I watch it, the more I hate it. Like, what's up, comrades? Welcome back to episode 2 of the Brocialist. You're here with your host Andre and your co-hosts Dante, Josh, and Tunde. Thanks for coming back. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button for us. And if you're listening on Apple Pods or Spotify, make sure you leave us a review. We really appreciate it. It really helps with the algorithms. So we're going to get right into it today. And we're going to start our first segment with a segment we like to call Smash or Pass. So essentially, these are more tabloid, maybe not as serious news topics, or maybe more casual news that we're going to kind of go around the horn and see, do you mess with the topic? You want to pass on it? I play on the old game that you used to play with your friends. So first up on our Smash or Pass list is GTA 6 is officially confirmed. We don't know what the next name of the installment in the series or franchise will be, but we know it's coming in the next few years or so. We know that Rockstar is working on it. So how do you guys feel about it? I don't know if you're avid Rockstar game players or GTA fans.
What they going to Miami with it? We going back to Vice City?
I don't know. I seen that in like an article maybe that they might go back to Vice City, but I don't know. I mean, there's still a lot unknown about the game right now. I'm seeing projections probably 2024, 2025, but might get pushed back even more. So I don't know, but that would probably be a good idea to take it back to Vice City.
I feel like GTA kind of lost some of its luster when you ain't a kid no more. You ain't got to sneak it. My mom wasn't letting me play no type of GTA, so I was always sneaking into that friend's house. So that always made it way more fun. But
Right.
I feel like the online is so crazy now, and you got like people spending like real money on it. So I'm not a big gamer besides Madden, but I'm gonna play some GTA. So
Um, yeah, I just seen that like something with cryptocurrency is involved as well for some reason, uh, which is pretty cool, I think. And then
oh
also,
Lord,
yeah, Vice City, yeah, cryptocurrency is supposed to be
Not
a part
crypto.
of it somehow, so which
The
is pretty cool.
NFTs
And
next.
then, so I see, I think I seen, um, oh, Rockstar also like all of it.
is it gonna be
I
on the
don't know.
Oculus?
But most of it on YouTube, like before this whole release thing, they blocked GTA 6 from like on YouTube comments, so you couldn't say GTA 6 on anything GTA related or Rockstar related, which was kind of funny because people just kept asking for it. So,
To answer like your question too, I mean, I wouldn't see if it did go to the Oculus. I feel like more people will probably end up getting GTA because it would be like you would be performing, you know, the actions like literally yourself instead of on the controller. So I mean, like I would if they do go that route, I feel like that would be a positive movement for them to do. And like you said, I mean, I wasn't the biggest GTA player. I was always a friend on house that I was playing it over. But I mean, it's exciting. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this next installment to come out, and even though it still seems far away. It gives people an outlook of just what's to come. So I mean, like it's exciting, but I mean, hey, we'll see.
Yeah,
I
I,
guess.
I, I think personally I'll have to pass on this news just because, like I said, I only play Madden. The online community for GTA is just so crazy, and I'll probably play it once or something like that. But it's interesting, I guess. But I'm gonna pass on this one. What y'all got? Y'all smashing or passing the new GTA?
yeah,
Yeah, I'll probably pass on this too.
I'll,
Interesting, but
I'll pass. It's until
I'm good on it.
2023. So,
Our fearless host, what you doing? I know you the gamer, probably the biggest gamer out of all of us.
No, I'm excited, but it's obviously we've been waiting for a long time on this one, and I probably have over 1,000 hours dumped between GTA 4 and GTA 5, so I'm pretty excited. They always have really good stories. I think I played through them both a few times each, and then the countless hours that I put in online. But no, I'm looking forward to it. But I'm not gonna get. It's obviously gonna take them some time, and I'm not gonna obviously try and rush them because the video gaming space has terrible like worker rights, and they get overworked pretty extremely. So I'll be patient. There's plenty of other stuff to hang on to now. So it's exciting, but I'll pass on that one for now. Next up on the dock in Smash or Pass, we have Masculinity Bootcamp. So there's this Vice article that came out not long ago from the perspective of the writer in the Vice article, and then Keith Smith, his perspective on going to essentially a masculinity boot camp. And at this boot camp, it's just a bunch of guys being bros, essentially going through 3 days of basic training, doing a bunch of things like shooting guns, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and then also some mental health and other life improvement stuff. So I don't know how you guys felt about the Vice article. I'll put it in the description of the pod, but I don't know what you guys felt when you kind of read through it.
I thought it was kind of wild that people were spending anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000 to become more masculine, more of a man. Like you said, like it's basically basic training, but you're paying $12,000 to $10,000 to do it. So I don't know, to find like your inner self. I know for me, and in the article, it was mostly entrepreneurs that were kind of getting into this program and everything. So I mean, it kind of makes sense. But like, for the average person, working like a 9 to 5 or anything, I mean, $10,000 to $12,000 just to, I don't know, a couple, what was it, 3 days, a couple days that they were doing this transformation. To me, it just seemed kind of pointless, and some of the practices that they were doing, I was just like, it didn't seem like there was an immediate solution after this was all over. I mean, I don't know. I haven't done the program, but I mean, like, I don't know. It just seemed kind of pointless to me.
I'm going to read a couple quotes that I grabbed from it, because it is kind of crazy to think about spending that much money on something like that when you could, I guess, dedicate it towards resources to become a better man, for lack of better words, like improving your mental health, whether it be through a therapist or something along those lines, improving your physical health, whether it be going to a gym consistently, etc. But this one quote was from, I believe, one of the trainers or runners of the camp. There's various ones around the country.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
And he says, most men suffer in silence because they feel disconnected from their larger purpose in life. They gorge themselves on distraction, TV, social media, food, booze, and pornography. These vices lead men further astray, jeopardizing their income, marriage, family, and sense of self-worth. So, I don't know, what are you guys' thoughts on, and I think in our general relationship culture and marriage in America, and men being tied up in these things that are, I guess, superficial in a way, such as like TV, social media, food, and in this quote porn, as opposed to, I guess, lending closer attention to their, whether it be personal relationships, their intimate relationship, etc.
I think that. Oh, my bad.
I mean, go ahead, Dad.
So what I think is, I like the fact that he was saying like you could be departed from your wife and family and all that stuff just after military stuff. 'Cause I think that's what he was talking about, right? Was that he was like formerly in the military or Air Force, I think. Feel like, I don't know. I don't feel that like weird about them paying $10,000 for a boot camp. A lot of people pay a lot more for other things. At least they're doing it to a positive standpoint. I don't really like want to say like you should spend your money this way or you should spend your money that way, but I did see where he was coming from that, just because I feel like men do sometimes like try to store all that stuff in, and this might be a way for them to get better at expressing their emotions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and they even express it some here in that later in the article they talk about how a lot of men feel, even though they're disproportionately upper ends of society, they also feel expendable in the way that how they make up 70% of the prison population, 92% of men are the ones who die in just lines of work in general, not even like necessarily dangerous lines of work. Obviously, most men die in war as opposed to women, and the suicide rates among men are about like 79% old white men. So it's like super disproportional because old white men obviously don't make up 79% of the American population. So I think that it just kind of gets on the fact that a lot of men feel disenfranchised in a way, and they described it as wrapping up a pill and cheese, like when you feed it to your dog to try and hide it. And the fact that you're getting this camp together and you're having them do this jujitsu training and shooting with guns and working out with a bunch of other guys, and I don't know, really enjoying like the masculine energy and part of the moment in the camp, but then also taking a step back and having them be vulnerable with one another and talk about their relationships. One of the guys talks about how he said, I used to think it was shameful to say I supported my girlfriend. And what some of them, the writer of the article said that one of the guys admitted to him that he had been like unfaithful in his relationship and how like bad he felt about it. So they're just trying to, I guess, given how society is set up, put it in a format to where you can break these men down and then give them, I don't know, the means to self-reflect, I think is the best word I'm looking for. And they talk about how they feel that there's two, like it's this bell curve that men are on in society, where you're either far too masculine to the point where it's like aggressive and it seems almost gets stereotyped as being racist, and then there's the other side where it's incredibly soft and delicate to where you're seen as passive or weak.
I got a question. So a lot of people I
Yeah.
mean, not a lot of people, but I got some feedback from our last podcast, right? Where the difference between masculinity and toxic masculinity and which one we were talking about. So I just had like a question to you guys on how you felt about that situation, because a lot of people just was like, are you talking about masculinity in general, or are you talking about toxic masculinity? Is there good masculinity into where, as a man in society, there's certain things that you need to be versus like toxic masculinity when it relates to this article?
I think we addressed that. When we kind of had the opening statements about what we feel about it. Like,
Yeah,
it's okay to be masculine, but when you're taking away from your enjoyment of life or other people's enjoyment of life with being very toxic,
that's
that's when it becomes
toxic.
an issue.
Yeah,
I think there's a clear distinction between those two. I feel like all four of us are pretty masculine guys. Love being in the gym, working out, love playing athletic sports,
lead.
and yeah, games, whatever. Like we like doing masculine stuff, but there's a difference between being toxic about it when you're hurting your own life enjoyment or someone else's. I do feel like when we talk about this article, it comes off as toxic at first when I was reading it. Definitely like when they were talking about like burying themselves to get rid of their inner bitch. Like they had the
Yeah, yeah. I
dash
got
the dash challenge,
right. Yeah,
and they bury themselves alive until they kill their inner bitch, and then they come out,
a
as
beast.
full men or whatever. A beast, yeah, they come
Yeah,
out a
yeah,
beast, and that's crazy to me. I'm not paying no one $10,000 to bury me
bro.
alive. That's ridiculous. So
I,
for this one, I'm smashing everything besides the price and whatever, because they did multiple different of these. They did multiple of these camps, and I just feel like that first one, the project, was just very, very. Um, it seemed like the guy was a salesman as well, the guy who started it and ran it, and so it almost seems like he was like just kind of like finessing these people, like these well-off, young men or older men, out of like hundred thousands of dollars, just because they were a little like insecure, and then showing them. They brought in like this SWAT guy, MMA guy, a Navy guy, Marine. They brought in all these guys, and these other guys who are signed up for this program are like, oh my God, I want to be these people. Like these guys are alpha males, and taking thousands of dollars for them when they were probably fine. They might have had these mental things and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure a therapist or, handling your emotions, dealing with your family could have handled that just as well as a $10,000 boot camp. You go take an MMA class, for $200.
Yeah. This article reminded me of like you in season three, when Joe went to the mountains, but I forget the dude. Was it Carrie?
Yeah,
Have
my
y'all
boy
seen? He
Carrie.
went. He went with
Carrie was
Carrie in the
cold.
mountains to
Carrie
go
was
find his.
cold.
Yeah. Carrie went with Carrie to go find his like inner man, inner beast in a way. So I drew a lot of references from you,
Yeah.
and I mean, like I know like is fictional, but I mean, at the end of it, of that experience, at almost killing Carrie, because I mean that's if you have not seen you, that's what the main character does. He ends up like
Spoiler
killing.
alert.
Spoiler alert, sorry for everybody out there, but I mean like he kills most people that he encounters. At the end of that encounter, he came out a better man, and I guess for me, I mean if these guys that are spending 12 to 10 thousands of dollars are going for this experience to achieve their inner beast and to become like that masculine figure that they've always wanted to be, then I mean I guess it's cool, but I mean like Toon said, I'll smash everything but like the price where it just
Hmm.
seems crazy, because it just seems like in a way you're kind of taking advantage of vulnerable
Yes.
people
Yes.
who are looking for a solution and an outlet. That's my only thing. That's my only thing that's wrong with me in that in a sense. So yeah, like yeah.
I mean,
So
who
I'm good on
who
that.
who doesn't love a boys trip though? I mean, like me and my boys, shout out to the Mooks. We take a ski trip every year, just the bros. We let loose. We have a good time. And most of us have girlfriends, and it's a great time to just be with your brothers and just be free and stuff like that. Not worry about work, not worry about school or whatever. Just have a good time on the mountain. And girls like to do that too. They love having girls trips, and I feel like it's okay to be close with your brothers and just like be able to give each other hugs. Be able to laugh, cry, do whatever you got to do with your brothers. But I don't. They act like this was such a crazy idea to them that this was okay, that I can, put my arm around another guy or, go through, this grueling training with somebody and, be close with them, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, I think that I agree that overall, uh, I agree with the sentiment that they're trying to improve. It does seem kind of like a con. It's not a con, like they got a service out of it, but he got like cold emailed essentially. I think that's the way that the article detailed is that he saw it in his email and he's like, I'm gonna do this.
Never
Yeah,
signed
which
up for that.
is kind of crazy to me. But I think overall, to kind of answer Dab's question, is that like we said, I don't think there's anything wrong with toxic masculinity. I think it's if you start trying to impose those more traditional values as if everyone needs to be following these, like your form of masculinity or that traditional form of masculinity has to be what everyone follows. If there's women that are following like traditional forms of masculinity or like taking up those roles that makes them like less feminine or unwomanly, like I think that's where like the toxicity comes into play, not just doing masculine things. It's kind of how you carry yourself and how you impose those ideas on other people. But I think overall, I think what they're trying to do in general is good. But I think we're all of a similar sentiment that, or maybe except for Dabs, he might be the dissenting opinion that there might be a better. You could achieve all this with $10,000, maybe in a more like productive, long term approach as opposed to a 3 day camp. And maybe this is what like helps them do it, right? So I guess I can't impose my views on them. Hopefully, they're all sticking to how they felt coming out of it. Coming up next, Dabs, you're the resident Kanye expert here. The Kanye Kim divorce and TikTok issues on here. I don't know what's going on in TikTok. I all I know about Kanye and
Pass on
Kim
that.
right now is that I heard that he moved across the street from her, and I kind of stopped following it. And that
Petty
Kim
King.
is dating Pete
Petty
Davidson
King.
or something like that. But I'm gonna start this with saying I probably get a pass on this one.
I'm a pass too.
Um,
I'm a pass too,
so
bro.
with the TikTok thing,
I'm
it's
not
just because
good.
his daughter was on TikTok and he was pretty upset about it. And I will say, like, the TikTok wasn't nothing bad at all. Like, it was just like a kid with her mom, her mom and stuff. But the next thing I saw was like a video of this guy on TikTok. with her video, like in his video, and he was saying some very weird stuff about it. Like it was like very sexualized. And now I see Kanye's point about it, but um, I will pass on that one because I don't care about billionaires and their kids enough to keep talking about it in my life. So yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Just because I feel like money doesn't solve all your problems, but some problems can be solved with money to a certain extent. And yeah, I don't care about billionaires' kids. Like y'all both billionaires, figure it out. That's how I feel.
This isn't unique. Everybody, I can go find a family down the street that going through the same shit.
Kanye,
You
you
know,
dealing with the
I'm passing this
same
one.
stuff everybody else is.
Everybody, you just got a lot more money, but somebody else
Lot
going
more
through
money.
this. Personally, I can understand where he's coming from a little bit. I wouldn't want my daughter on TikTok per se without like my permission, but like I would work it out. Like he's obviously not the best co-parent. There's not the best divorce right now, so I mean, I really don't care. I'm gonna have to pass this one because I can go talk to somebody at work about this probably. Passing.
Passing
Next
on
up
that
on
beat.
Smash or Pass, this was a last minute ad by myself after essentially it came out 2 days ago. Is the highlights of Caitlin Clark dropping 46 and 10, the basketball player out of Iowa, who was absolutely hooping,
She cold.
cooking them,
She
cooking them,
cold. Cold. She like Steph out there
pulling up from the logo.
pulling up the logo.
I think that's fire. Like, obviously I don't watch like a ton of women's basketball. I shouldn't say a ton. I don't watch any women's basketball. But like when I watch like girls like this or like Paige Becker's hoop, like it's honestly like really cool to see because they are hooping. And there's a ton of guys that would watch that and be like, I could guard them. No, like you will get cooked. Like they are hooping.
Yeah, I saw
Did
that.
you guys see that one girl
That
poster?
shit was
I think it's
nuts.
high school maybe.
That was-
I
that
think I
was
know
fake.
Gab saw it.
That was
Huh?
fake.
There's a guy
fake.
with
What?
dreads.
It was a dude with long. I know what you're talking about. It's a dude with dreads, bro.
Oh,
They got you. They got you.
I
There's a guy
thought-
with
No, I
dreads.
didn't know
That's-
that was fake. I
did
was
you know that was
this
fake?
is amazing. I can't
Fake.
believe
That's
it.
a snapshot right there.
Dog. Oh my god.
I would
Bro,
look
it
because
said
when I
girl
seen it, I
power.
said,
That's crazy.
I was like, what? I'm like, it's lit. They dunking
They got
now.
me.
It's lit.
They got me.
Yeah, but that's fake. But yeah, Caitlin Clark. I just heard about it like maybe even yesterday because I wasn't even really on it. But yeah, she been hooping. She pulling up from the logo like Steph. She got the KD cosign too. And it's crazy how she got the cosign from him because she joined him as the only NBA, WNBA, and Division I men's or women's player in the last 15 years to have 45 more points or 10 more assists and played the entire game. So she ain't even come out. She played the entire
Dog,
game
what?
and got 45 points or more and 10 assists. So I mean, like, she's been hooping. I mean, you got Caitlin Clark, you got Paige Buckets over there at UConn. So I mean, like the women's league, the women's basketball. I mean, they're ascending, I will say, with their skill, and I feel like it's only going to get better in terms of viewership. And I think overall, like that's good for the women's game because I mean, if we see like the WNBA and everything, like they're getting paid scraps to, and obviously they don't get like the funding that the NBA does, so they can get like these crazy contracts like the NBA. But I mean, like. If we had more girls like Caitlin Clark and like I said Paige Buckets, keep ascending and coming through the women's game, I feel like viewership will only get higher and people and that will and in turn people's interest in women's basketball will only get better as well. So 40. Yeah, 40. Her and Kevin Durant are the only people the only players in like Division I men's woman to only have to have 45 more points or 10 assists and play the
And like
entire
46
game.
points is insane at any level of basketball. I don't care if it's AAU, high
Crazy.
school, college, NBA, it doesn't matter. But in college, it's crazy because there's not that much time in a game. It's 40 minutes. I mean, granted, it's not much less than basketball, but it's not
two
as
halves.
much. And she had 10 assists, so she accounted for at least at least 56 points. I don't know if anyone were
Actually,
were 3 points.
Quick math.
But at least 56 points. I don't know how many points were scored that game. So I have to assume she probably accounted for like 60% of their points or something like that.
She was hooping.
At least.
So since y'all all obviously smashing,
We're talking
this-
about the
is this gonna
stat
make y'all
line.
watch-
We're not talking about Caitlin Clark.
Cancel.
that's it.
Cancel.
Okay.
We are
No, not
patient out there.
no. No. So we're only talking about the stat line. Are you guys gonna start watching college women's basketball now?
When I'm at like the gym and it's on, like I'll like keep my eye on it because when I lived in South Carolina, like South Carolina's like the best women's basketball in the
Winston-Salem?
country, like, bro. What? But South Carolina,
North Carolina.
South Carolina, shut up. South Carolina women's basketball, #1 in the country. So like that's pretty much the talk of the state is the women's basketball team. So like when I'm at the gym and everything, like and it's on, like I always like keep an eye on it because I mean like it is interesting. You know, like they might not have like the athleticism and everything, but like fundamentally and everything, like I feel like they're definitely more sounder than guys. And I think that makes the game more interesting when, you know, you're able to run more plays and create different scenarios to win a basketball game. So, I mean, like, I've been kind of keeping my tabs on women's basketball a little bit. But, I mean, like, if more girls like Caitlin Clark and, like I was like,
You've been keeping
Paige
tabs
Bueckers-
on women's basketball.
Yeah, bro, they be hooping.
Who
Damn.
the first in the WNBA right now?
I don't think the WNBA is in season right now, are they?
I said
I
college.
don't think
I said college.
WNBA
I
isn't
don't
in
know.
season right now.
I didn't say we talking about
WNBA
college.
is
Yeah, the
they
WNBA
like
not even in
flop
college.
with.
Well, Candace
Who's
Parker,
ranked number one? Who's
Candace-
ranked number one
in women's
NCAA?
basketball? I just
Yeah.
told you South Carolina, nigga.
Right now?
Yeah.
Okay. I ain't watching.
I just told you.
you.
I just told you.
All right. Hey, maybe you are.
Hey, don't be
We
the
gonna get tickets to the
sexist
Final
in here
Four.
now, Tune.
I'm
Don't
not
be the
being sexist.
sexist
I'm
in
just
here.
saying. I don't even watch
I don't
regular
watch.
basketball.
Yeah,
so there's
I
no
don't
way I'm
watch
watching
college
women's
basketball. It's like I watch NBA basketball.
Now March Madness, but you know I watch March Madness and I watch the NBA Finals, but I'm not tuning into the WNBA or women's basketball.
I didn't say I tune.
Because-
I said when it's on, like I'll just be like kind of paying attention to it, but I ain't gonna be like, oh, like this game on. Let me just. I said.
Do you guys
hey,
ever
listen.
think it will reach the level, you know, of the NBA?
Obviously
Whatever?
not. Like, come
no.
on. No matter how
Obviously, no.
progressive
The
I want to
NBA
be,
the
like,
NBA
obviously it's not going to reach that level. But I think part of it too is that like there's so much marketing and hype around NBA, and I'm not saying that it's not deservedly so sometimes, but there's so much hype around it, and I think that if there was like a more concerted effort around women's sports, because and maybe part of it the NBA, like it's an athleticism like barrier that like you can't do all these crazy layups and dunks and stuff like that, but they can do like a lot of the like Dante said, they're fundamentally a lot of
I
them
saw this video.
are
I saw this video on
fundamentally.
Twitter. This girl yammed on somebody. Did you guys see that video?
Bro, you keep talking about
that
this
video.
fake ass
Can we go
video. Quit interrupting me to talk about dumb shit.
Stop talking about that video, bro. You got catfish.
Yeah, can
Stop
I
it.
mute you? Anyway, yeah, like
He passing on this
fundamentally,
topic, y'all.
they're
Just we gonna edit him
better.
out.
They're
Almost.
better
All right,
players.
yeah, edit me
And
out.
I look at other women's sports like when you get to like soccer and like volleyball and tennis and other things, like I can easily watch women just as much in those sports. So I don't see why not, if there was a more concerted effort around like bringing up talent in the States, that I couldn't watch it here too. But I don't watch much college basketball anyway, so I don't watch men's either, so it's a bad compare for me.
Yeah, I can't really compare it either.
I mean, like, and let's be honest, like football is king right now. So if WNBA if women's basketball can't even compare to NBA, I don't think like the NBA can even compare to the NFL. So I mean, like, let's just nothing's going to pass
I did
football
watch the
right
Pro
now.
Bowl.
So
I did watch the
Women's
Pro Bowl,
football.
and they did play flag football. I swear to God,
no.
they was cooking. Yeah.
I seen a
Yeah.
couple highlights. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see going down the line. But hey,
Well, good luck to Caitlin Clark the
6
rest of
stats.
the year. I'll keep my eye for show the rest of the year. Obviously, I think
Tune is not going to keep an eye out for
because
Caitlin
Paige
Clark.
Thirsty ass.
Buckers she's hurt. She's out for the year, right? Or was that? Yeah, she's
Yeah,
out. So
yeah.
She twisted her.
I don't know if she out for. I don't know if she out for the year or not. I know it's an
Okay.
extensive.
Yeah, so
time,
she's out. So we got Caitlin Clark putting on the cape for us to take the throne. But coming up next on Smash or Pass, recently on Twitter, I don't know who did this, but someone put together a compilation and they must have done some work. I don't know if they got some AI or what, but they put together a compilation of Joe Rogan saying the N word and some hard
our
R's
good brother
with some
Joe.
hard R's. Yes,
It was all
and
hard
it was
Rs.
like 20. It had to have been like 20 something times that he said it like throughout the show. Like, and granted, there's no context, but at that point, I didn't need any context. Like, it was wild.
There's no context.
Wild. And then obviously he releases his apology after, as everyone does.
3 minutes long.
And he talks about how there's no context, but it's still inexcusable, but there's no context. Woo woo. It was old, even though some of them were like last couple of years. I mean, I don't like Joe Rogan. I don't really care. Yeah.
He's friends with Daniel Cormier.
I can't get him
Yeah,
the time of day.
I'm
bro.
passing
Like,
on this
I
because I
ain't
don't
gonna
care. But I saw like a Twitter clip, and it was this guy going around on TikTok asking people do you care about Joe Rogan, da 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 da, and he was asking black people, and all the black people were like, no, I don't care about Joe Rogan. And then he was like taking that as, well, none of the black people would care about Joe Rogan saying the N-word, so why should you white liberals? Like, no, we don't care about
this
Joe
is another
Rogan.
day,
Like,
Yeah.
Bro, Buddy
a
did
hard
Fear
pass.
Factor. I don't care about
the one
anything
thing I
you
do
say.
care about though is when he said the whole
are you a hard R
Planet of the
pass?
Apes thing regarded to now like everybody talking about the
Oh,
N-word,
yeah, that
like,
was
'cause he's
foul.
using it in like news clips, like this person said the N-word.
I didn't hear it.
Like, okay,
I didn't hear what he
but
said.
what about the Planet of the Apes you've seen because you've seen a bunch of black people quote? Like that one is the one.
He went to go see the movie, and he said they got out the car and it was in a black neighborhood, and he said, "Oh, it looks like we got out in the They didn't even see the movie yet. They were going to see it. They got out of the car, and he's like,
Bro.
"We're already on the Planet of the Apes."
Yeah,
Bro, like
pass,
what?
bro, pass,
And then you
bro,
got
pass,
people Twitter all
pass,
day
bro.
just
I don't
defending
even wanna pass.
like with their whole chest.
With their whole chest,
Bro, what didn't I seen something? Didn't like The Rock defend him at first?
I don't know. I don't know if I trust The Rock, to be honest.
I mean,
So
I mean, like
look at that environment that like Joe Rogan and them like grew up in. You know, MMA gyms. You know, like wrestler, like that's like a majority white, like conservative people. Like even being a wrestler in high school, it's very conservative. You know, even going to the MMA gym I went to, very conservative. You know, I'm not surprised. Like I don't see why people are so surprised. Like, look at the environment he comes from.
the thing is,
look at Vince McMahon. You know, Vince McMahon said the N-word. Like
that's why I said pass. I'm
the
like,
thing
bro, it's
is,
just
like,
another day.
Yeah,
obviously,
I mean,
it is like racist to do. I don't know if like Joe Rogan is racist. Like I don't know if he doesn't like black people or whatever. If he really thinks these things about people. Because I remember like I saw a clip like Ben Shapiro, and obviously Ben Shapiro's an idiot, but everyone thinks he's smart. Was talking about like black people and how they need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, da da da. And like Joe kind of like pushed back, like, well, don't you think like there's some stuff that happened over the last like X amount of time that. So it's like. You're not stupid, but you're so fucking stupid. Like it's unreal. Like, I just think he if he wants to talk about anyone being an ape, it's that fucking ape motherfucker, because he belongs in Planet of the Apes the way he acts in his Caesar ass.
I'm just like,
you okay, bro?
I'm like, bro, I'm pass on this. I'm like,
You
I
just called
seen
him
this segment. I
Caesar.
said, yep. I'm like, I
Yeah.
seen that. I said, yep, pass for sure.
It shouldn't expect less.
All right, we
Let's
gonna
pass on it.
move past that. The last on Smash or Pass, we've been seeing a lot of vaccine protests lately, but in like bigger news, because it's I guess it has a bigger effect, is that there's like these vaccine trucker protests a lot. And the reason I brought this up is because I was driving to Detroit the other day, and there's this long truck of cars on 96 just backing up trucks with trailers backing up the freeway on the way to the bridge to Canada. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought something was going on the bridge. So I come back and I'm leaving the gym after being there for maybe 2 hours at least. and they're still there. There's still trucks there. And I get home and check my phone, and it's a trucker protest. So it's like, I don't know if it's US and Canadian or Canadian only or whatever. I know that in Ottawa they've been protesting.
I think it's Canada.
Essentially, the mandates that
It's both.
their respective countries are having around vaccines.
Because doesn't it,
'cause
Canada is mandated, right? If you're coming,
It's both countries.
go ahead, Tim.
So Canada, you know, established this mandate mirroring the, you know, Joe Biden's like American mandate for both testing. Like you either have to be vaccinated or you gotta do like weekly testing. Like they tried to pass that in Michigan. OSHA tried to pass that in Michigan, and it didn't pass. But it's good for, you know, truckers because it's federally regulated because of international trade. So yeah, it's both countries doing it. The Canadians are very upset about it. They don't want to get vaccinated, and so they're just camping out there. But my thing is, not all of them feel like that, and a lot of them are like trapped in this gridlock. Because what are they gonna do? Like once you get trapped with a semi truck, you're not doing a U-turn and getting out of there. You're stuck. So like they don't have food. They're like stuck in their trucks for like I'm not sure what percent are vaccinated, but I think it was around 30% were unvaccinated. So the other 70% are just stuck there because no one else wants to get vaccinated. And you know, I believe that yes, it's your body, it's your choice. Go find another job, I guess. Like everything has regulations. You had to get regulated when you got that license. You have to get regulated when you go across the border. They check your truck. They do all this stuff. You have to follow all these rules. Sorry, but if you don't want to follow these rules, you can't do the work. It's as simple as that. And it's holding up. I think 25% of U.S. and Canadian trade goes through like the Detroit, like Windsor border. So I think it's more serious than getting a shot. You know.
Yeah, it's like, and I in the article that I was looking at, it said something along the lines of, I think 70% of Canadians are vaccinated at this rate, so I think it's slightly higher than America. But like 80% of truckers are vaccinated, so a higher rate is already vaccinated. Obviously, I don't agree with any like vaccine protests, but it's weird because like how like persecuted they feel, like them, like you see like a lot of people in Canada and even the U.S. protests like putting the Star of David on them and like just absolutely wild shit like that, as it like comparing themselves to being persecuted as if they were Jews and or Jewish and in German or Nazi controlled Germany. It's just an insane victim complex. But I mean, I'm passing in general, but I just thought it was wild.
I think I had to smash this one because it's important. You know, it's like the trade between these two countries is heavily affected by this, and I don't think the countries are gonna let up. You know, so I think it's an important issue that we should definitely get them trucks through. They better kick them off the truck and have somebody else drive that sucker. What about you, Dabs? You don't care about the truckers?
Right. Yeah. No.
I'll pass
Yeah.
on that one.
I'm gonna pass.
Too
Too. Dabs, you
interesting.
got anything on it?
All right. When y'all ain't got no toilet paper to wipe your ass, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
And that's all for Smash or Pass. We are going to pick up now on what's happening now, a segment that reoccurs quite often with more imperative news. We introduced this on our first episode. First up on what's happening now is the Supreme Court in Alabama, the National Supreme Court voted on Alabama. Essentially, Alabama had a redrawing of their districts, and there was a suit that was brought against the states, and that these districts were unconstitutional, given how they were drawn up by the states to exclude certain groups from having proper representation, and the Supreme Court struck it down. So, just a summary, and if people aren't aware, every 10 years we perform a census. After that census, a lot of the states controlling state legislatures redraw the congressional districts for our national Congress people. Very often, we see the leading party of the state draw these districts in a way that is favorable to them so that they can get more congressional seats. So this is what occurred in Alabama, is that they were packing essentially a large amount of the black voters all into one district to consolidate their votes to give them maybe one congressional seat, and that they have one Democratic seat to give them one congressional seat, and then spreading the rest of the the population out so that they would have the rest of the seats. The issue with it is that Alabama has, I believe, 7 Congress people, 6 are Republican, 1's a Democrat, and one of the one Democrat is a black woman. But Alabama's electorate is 26% black. So currently, their representation doesn't meet the Congress people or the representatives of their state. So for those who don't know, there's very complex ways in which these districts are redrawn, and both parties do this a lot, but it's more extreme when it comes to Republicans because Democrats rely on a very diverse voting demographic to have success. So it helps them to have very diverse congressional districts for their voting population, whereas Republicans, it does not favor them to have diverse voting congressional districts, so they will either crack or pack these groups in or up in order to give themselves an advantage in congressional elections. So before I go on any further with maybe some more statistics or anything along those lines, I don't know I'll go to Dante first. I don't know what your initial thoughts are on the Supreme Court ruling or just the general practice, obviously, of gerrymandering. So what are your thoughts?
I mean, the fact that the Court decided to, I guess, halt these efforts, I guess to show that we are still, fighting the same battles that our ancestors have been, that fought for so many years. It's just a shame to see that that this is having such that it will have such an impact on just the black community. You said that the electorate is made of 26%, and we only have one black congresswoman in Alabama. I mean, if anybody knows Alabama's history, I mean, it's shocking, but I mean, like it's not that shocked to only see one, but still, like in 2022, it's just like, man, like how far have we really come, So I mean, for me, it's just initial shock, and hopefully, in the long run, that we can see something positive come out of this. I mean, to me, it's just shocking at this point.
I seen something that was Brett Kavanaugh. Is that how you say it? Kavanaugh. Yeah, Brett Kavanaugh. I saw something like allegedly like
Yeah, he's one of the Supreme.
He was a part of this, right? But he was nominated to the Supreme Court. He owed about $92,000 in country club fees, $200,000 in credit card debt, and about $1.2 million in a mortgage. And as soon as he was nominated to the Supreme Court, all the debt disappeared off his records. Someone paid it off, I'm guessing. But I just don't think this guy is like morally sound. And also, I think he was like allegedly a rapist at some point too.
I'll push back against that because I don't know, so I don't want to accuse him of doing something like that.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah.
He said allegedly. That's cool. You
allegedly,
can say whatever you want.
Right, okay.
So listen, I'm just saying the guy's not.
You can, I swear.
Something was fishy about that whole debt thing. I mean,
was it a 5-4?
There was a 5-4 vote. So there was one Republican that dissented, and his case was essentially I forget which one dissented. But his case was essentially that it was too close to the election. It was clear, like, this is coming really close to the election. We shouldn't have this affect the current election. We should have this election be held, and then we can, address it afterwards. But then the 4 conservative justices that voted for, or 5 conservative justices that voted for, essentially said we shouldn't affect their voting there, and we shouldn't play a role in that. But I think the funny thing is that because obviously, when things get brought to the Supreme Court, they go to lower courts first and then get brought up. And 3 court judges in the lower court ruled to bring this up, and 2 of those Trump appointed. So they were more conservative justices that have ruled that the state had violated Federal Voting Rights Act by diluting the power of the black vote by so much. So essentially, if you pack all these black voters into one group, and so them having one black congressperson gives them 14% of the electorate. You're 26% of the state electorate. So that means you aren't like meeting the demographic. And that doesn't mean that at all times you have to have 26%. Like they have 7. So it's the percents aren't going to always add up. But there's a complete obvious act going on to dilute the power that they have. And we saw this in, I don't remember if it was North or South Carolina, where the Supreme Court ruled against a lot of their voting laws because they said that, and it was still, I think, when we had a conservative Supreme Court, they said that the laws were created with such precision and accuracy that to target like the black population that they were unconstitutional. And it seemed like you could make a very similar case here. I think obviously the court is even more conservative now than it was before because it was 5-4 conservative. Now it's 6-3 conservative. So you have to pull 2 conservative justices over on something like this. But it's just, it goes back to what we said last week about representation. And it makes it worse when you're already losing in the court in terms of like numbers when it comes to conservative or liberal justices. And I guess further exasperates the need for, one, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act in general, but then just to reevaluate how some of these like districts are drawn, because it's like clearly like ill intent. And I'm gonna like show a few on the screen, and it's nasty how some of these districts are drawn up. Some of you might be aware of these, but
these are bad.
It gets gross. Like, so here's Maryland's 3rd district, and I don't know if this is conservative or Republican. I think it says it's been held by Democrats for the most part. But just like, this is one district. All these people in this green in Maryland are all voting for the same, are all represented by the same person. And it's such a strange, like, it's such a wide area of people from such different variety of places. This is Massachusetts. This is an absolutely insane congressional district in Pennsylvania. And what a lot of these state legislators are doing is they're either cracking or packing these groups up. So when you're cracking, you're spreading out the minority groups or the dissenting voters among so thinly across congressional districts that they don't have the power to overpower the majority. So in the case of Alabama, if you spread out all the black voters enough, they wouldn't have a power to overpower the white voters. But they took the practice of packing, which essentially you're going to give up. I'm going to give up 1 seat in the House, but I'm going to make sure I take these other 6 because I'm going to put all the black people together and they're all going to get 1 vote and that'll be it. I think one of the most insane ones is this one in Texas. I think this is Representative, this might be, I can't remember his name. He goes on Joe Rogan a lot too. The one with the eye patch. I think this is him. He was a former veteran. And it's just such a clear attempt to disenfranchise so many voters. I mean, look at the distance that this covers, and you're clearly trying to gather certain groups, and historically, they have always disenfranchised certain groups from, having expressed voice in politics.
They probably don't even have the same issues. Like,
Right.
I'm not sure how many miles apart that is. But, they could have totally different forms of, commercial, agriculture things going on, like totally different issues than someone miles away from them. Like, it is kind of ridiculous.
And some states, so this map on the right here shows how states determine their districts. As you can see, like California, Michigan, Virginia, Arizona, and a few others, they use an independent commission to draw the districts. So it's a lot more bipartisan in terms of there's not really any advantages being drawn, which obviously is how we would think that they should always be done. But all these states in orange, purple, and yellow, or not yellow, or red are passed by the state legislature. So whatever the state legislature, not the federal legislature, whoever is running that is essentially in charge of putting these districts together, and then it's usually voted on by that said legislature. So it clearly, and a lot of these are southern red states, midwestern like swing states. A few of them are more Democrat, but I don't think that changing the laws there would have much of an effect on their electorates. But some of these swing states or southern states, it really changes the electorate a lot.
have we seen a case yet where it's kind of on the probably obviously not, but on the flip side where it's the minorities who are or the majority who's getting packed into districts and making more room. Like I just wonder if there's a
Yeah, so
conservative
like,
who's listening, or how would you feel if the shoe was on the other foot?
like I said, it mostly advantages Democrats to have a fair election, because if, let's say, like these states that vote for independent commission, that no matter what, it's going to be fair on either end. So you'll see that maybe a few seats to not have those like 10-year periods where you just have it stacked against you because you lost the state legislature. But I mean, obviously I prefer that it's independent and that it's just drawn up by, you can draw it in blocks. Like these people, this is this much of the population, you draw it up in blocks and just spread it out. Like obviously these insane districts are targeted to dilute the power.
What about like New York?
I mean, so New York, I mean,
Like New York's always pretty.
I don't think that it would have much of a effect
Like
on
city?
New York.
Buffalo?
I still think that it should be independent. Granted, they have the power. I don't know how much it would change in New York, but what you could do in New York is, and I'm sure they do this, is that maybe there are areas in New York that might have a red congressperson or a conservative congressperson, but if you split out their vote enough and spread it into other districts, and you get just enough of your district in there, or your Democratic voters, you can weed out Republican voters. I mean, as someone on the like as a leftist, I know that the numbers are in my favor. That if every state had independent commissions, that it would lean more left. So obviously.
So you feel like like leftists don't have to cheat,
Yeah, and it's not cheating because it's
It's kinda
legal.
what it
It's
is,
just it's immoral. I mean, it shouldn't be legal. I mean, it looks like by someone's interpretation,
cheating.
you could say this goes against the Voting Rights Act, just like things have been in the past. But obviously, gerrymandering's been allowed forever, which should come. I
feel
don't know,
like
Dabs. What are your thoughts? You haven't really said much.
I mean, like I always say, it's just like the manipulation by, I mean, both parties, both Democrat and Republican parties, in voting throughout the country has been a problem. A lot has came to light ever since Trump, and I'm not saying good or bad, but a lot of these things have been looked into a little bit farther, on the good side and the bad side about it. So I will say that, being more awake and more woke about certain things about voting rights, and also being more involved in smaller elections than just the presidential election, because that's what the majority of all the decisions are made on, like smaller elections that a lot of younger people don't really participate in. I feel like that that would actually help a little bit more. But you saying with this the actual groupings of the people, that's kind of messed up. I mean, it's clear as day. Like you can look at the map yourself without like doing a lot of research, and see that like these groups of people are spread out or they're packed in together. Just isn't right. So that's my thought process behind it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we need the Voting Rights Act to pass. Obviously, there's like a lot of pushback on that, but hopefully that there's something there so that.
So I guess like, what are the what are the next steps like after this?
There
With
are
the
no
fi-
next steps.
No
Tay.
next steps with the 5-4 vote.
We're finished.
Like I guess like
Yeah, I think they can technically appeal it, but ideally they probably wanted to get this through. Like they wanted this to get stopped before midterms, and it's not going to happen now. Like the Supreme Court looked at it. It's a long process to get them to look at something like that again. So we'll see what happens, but it's one lost battle. Hopefully that there's a long road ahead, and there is legislation in DC obviously to fight
just
that.
say
We have them Hunger Games.
The Hunger Games districts.
This is at the end of every segment too. I'm just saying.
district
That's how far can I
District
push.
13. District 13.
The political stuff is just tough. It's just never gonna
Our
change.
second and last
I
topic
digress.
on what's happening now. If you haven't heard the news yet, there has been another black man killed unlawfully at this point in time, as we may believe it, given the evidence presented by the police. Minneapolis, I believe it's Minneapolis police, was serving a warrant.
Always Minnesota.
Yeah, always Minnesota. They haven't fixed anything. Was serving a warrant and was searching houses, and they barged into an apartment and they shot down Amir Locke. So just to give a quick summary, and I strongly encourage everyone to, if you can bear it, go watch the video yourself and to go do the research. But obviously Minneapolis taking no accountability. The police were serving a warrant for looking for someone else. They were not looking for Amir Locke.
Tell them what kind of warrant. Tell them what
A
kind of
no-knock warrant. So they were, it was a traditional warrant, I believe, when it was first, but fact check me on that. Don't just take a word for it. And it was switched over to a no-knock, and they were searching, I believe, a few apartments. And you can see in the video, I don't know how they got a key, if they talk to whoever runs the property or whatever, but they have a key, and you can see at least 3 or 4 armed police officers with long rifles in the video. And they sneak in with the key, and they walk in yelling, "Police, police, police." There's someone asleep on the couch. It's Amir. He's staying at his cousin's house. And he when these people barge into his door, these people being the police, yelling, screaming with guns, Amir stands up or gets under the covers with a gun in hand. Obviously, he's presuming that someone is breaking into his house because he was asleep, or his cousin's house because he was asleep. And he didn't point the gun at anyone yet, but in their idea, they were acting in self-defense. The police shot him down and killed him. I believe he was shot 2 times in the chest and 1 in the arm, and he was, I think, dead on sight. So, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on Minneapolis's inability to fix anything and keep showing up in the news? No-knock warrants. Do you think anything will happen to these police officers this time? I know, Dabs, I'll let you go first this time.
So I seen a video, and it was like, I think it was his mom, I want to say.
I think I know what video you're talking about. I don't know if that's his mom or who they.
I don't think it's his mom.
But you're talking about the black woman that they were seeking counsel from to, I don't know, she was working with the mayor. Is that what you're talking about? And the chief of police?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to know, like, from a standpoint of just what I know it's not an easy answer to say how to fix this, but I feel like at this point, the power police have over just doing whatever they want to do. I mean, I know that there's probably ramifications coming behind this. Not 100% sure, because it's never 100% sure with the way our justice system is set up at the moment. The ramifications is, obviously, the police officers might go to jail. They might be fired. It just depends on the severity of what they think to happen and all that stuff. My point is that this person, Amir, is dead, and the fact of the matter is, there's no bringing them back, and there's preventative measures that I feel like, not just as a black community, I feel like it's Americans in general, because I know so many people are proud to say that they're American or whatever. I just want to know how many more times this, like, a black male or a black woman has to be dead on the street for us as us as America to say, hey, like, this is enough. And it's never happened. Like, I know certain parts of us have protested, something like that. I just feel like for some reason it's political. But at the end of the day, somebody knocks into your house, and presumably, like they said, that they started to set off alarms, like saying, like, hey, we're here, once they got in the house, right? Imagine you sleeping, and imagine you're sleeping, and all you hear is people, and you see guns, people with guns. Even if they said they quote unquote had a gun, what would you do, right? With these no-knock warrants and all that stuff, what would you do? I would defend myself in any way, shape, or form. I don't know who you are, end of the day, I don't know who you are, and that's what the point of me having a weapon for is to prevent myself from being harmed. But I just feel like police have way too much power in America. It's ridiculous. Like the fact of the matter is, like I know there's repercussions, like I said, but the guy's dead, and how many more people have to die in order for this to be changed? Like it's just ridiculous.
I think with the no knock warrants, I was looking at a few news articles about it, and it's crazy because we talk about the police having like all this power, um, but the mayor on his like campaign for re-election or election, like he had, many thought that the no knock warrants were going to be banned, and he that was a part of even his like campaign, like it was on the website and everything. Like they went on like the 7th and took down like reports of that this was going to be a banned practice, and then even like on the 7th as well, he said like throughout a campaign, and certainly as more and more outside groups began weighing in, language became more casual, including my own, when he was asked about saying that this policy, there was going to be a policy change to no knock warrants. No knock warrants are just ridiculous. I mean, they're doing it so they can catch people before they like flush drugs or get rid of weapons or anything like that. Because regularly a warrant has to be served between like 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. unless the courts outline the reason why it needs to be done as a no knock warrant, and they have to have like 2 high-ranking officials sign on it. So people signed off on this. It's a ridiculous practice that's not only dangerous for the person in the home, it's also dangerous for the officers. So even if you're like a Blue Lives Matter person, it's dangerous for them as well. They're running into houses without announcing themselves. You don't know what them people can have in the
Right.
house. So it's dangerous for both sides, and it's just a ridiculous practice. As for him having a gun, that was a legally registered firearm. So when they don't say, oh, like he shouldn't have had a gun, he's allowed to. And it's the same people who are fighting for gun rights, and members of the NRA who are like conservatives saying these things. It's just ridiculous how the double standard behind it. And then I do property management, and I almost went to Minnesota to take over a property there. And I've had cops come and ask. I had an undercover cop one time ask me like for addresses before for people like looking for a car, ask me for access to apartments. I always say no, go get a warrant. Like, and even if they have a warrant, you don't have to give them a key. Like they can break down the door. Like I usually tell them like go break down the door if you want. Like I'm not giving you a key to that apartment, just because it's just a fucked up practice, to be honest. So it's really crazy to me.
Yeah, I'm along the side with Tune on this one. The no knock warrant, I think it brings more dangerous situations for both sides, especially because wasn't Breonna Taylor killed in a no knock warrant? She was killed in a no knock warrant, and they weren't even looking for her. They were looking for her. Was it her boyfriend? Was it her boyfriend?
They weren't looking for this guy either.
Yeah, they weren't looking for him. They were looking for
He
his
was,
cousin.
yeah.
They were looking for a 17-year-old cousin because he was suspected in like a second-degree murder case investigation. So it's just like what Toon said. It's dangerous for both sides. So I just feel like I know the mayor was that was in his campaign to get rid of it, and it doesn't seem like that he has really held up on that end. But I just feel like nationwide, I just feel like that practice just needs to be to cease, because you trying to catch people before they can I don't know get away or get rid of evidence. But like you said, Tone, you're bringing danger to not only the assailant, because you're supposed to bring them in. You're not even supposed to. It's not even like you shooting just to kill, unless it's just like that's like unless it's like this person is really dangerous. But even in most instances, it's like you're not shooting to kill. You want to bring them in for questioning, and then you'll let the justice process handle itself. So I feel like we're all in agreement that just the no knock warrant itself just needs to be disbanded, because until it's not, we're gonna keep seeing more of this, and then you're gonna keep seeing broken families. You're gonna seeing sons, daughters, you want black sons, black daughters, because this is who this is affecting. It's affecting us, and it hits different when it's us, because in America we're already our voices are already not being heard. So I mean, it's just really sad that we keep going through this cycle, And as far as solutions, I don't know. I just feel like the practice just needs to be stopped because it creates more dangerous situations than actually
For
solutions
everybody.
for everybody involved. Like for everybody.
Where is the no knock warrant for the school shooters, the Oxford shooter? Where's the
Yeah, it's plenty of
where's the no knock
evidence.
warrants for
Plenty of evidence for that
like
dude.
online terrorist cells, incels, people who got a whole bunch of guns and
And
threatening.
They get out
and
alive
another
too.
question I have too is like, and another question.
Where's the no knock warrant for them? I don't get it.
Another question I have too is like they were looking for his cousin, so like I don't like Dre, I couldn't watch the video because when I seen it I'm not gonna keep going through the cycle of just watching black trauma because I'm tired of seeing black trauma. I'll like and retweet and stuff like that, but I'm not opening any more videos seeing people that look like me getting killed for something so stupid, and they should be here. So I mean, I don't know if they didn't see his face before, if his head was under the cover in the video. Like it's just like I don't think and they look the same. It's just like no, like a life is gone, man. You can't. How you gonna explain that to his mom? We made a mistake. Like a life is gone, bro. Like it's no coming back from that. You killed someone. Like it's no amount of money or anything comes away from you taking someone's life that should be here today. That should be here.
George Floyd died May 25th of 2020 in Minneapolis, and this is happening in Minneapolis again. So it's been almost 2 years since George Floyd's death.
I think it's like a constant theme in Minneapolis. It happens like every year in Minneapolis.
Nothing
Nothing's
has
changed in Minneapolis.
So if I'm saying nothing's changed in this small part of not small, I mean it's a city in America. Nothing has changed in that small city in America versus all of America, right? In the 2 year span that something that bad that happened to George Floyd happened, I feel like our voice is either not being heard. We are 12% of the population. So in the grand scheme of things, I feel like our voice hasn't been heard. I know a lot of people say there's progress being made. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think it needs to be from, it needs to be higher up. I don't know how you do it because states have their own power, right? It's all put together. But like President Biden and Kamala Harris, like this is one of my gripes with them. Like, it was even one of my gripes with Obama for a certain period of time. It's just like you say you can't do anything, or you say it's bigger picture, but what has really been done since Biden has been elected in office to not help black people? I'm just saying like police and black people in general, the whole entire thing. I just want to know like what is being done, and maybe I'm just ignorant, right, to it, or whatever it is. But obviously the process isn't working. And it's like we just keep watching it on CNN, we keep watching it on news. It's like they fucking profiting off of black people's deaths. Like it's literally a profit scheme at this point. It's just crazy to me. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think that I'll kind of leave it on what you all said because I think you covered it well. I agree with Tunde. I think that's my biggest sentiment because Philando Castile was also killed at Minneapolis. So that's like 3 in the last
right. Yeah, it's like
4.
every year,
And
every year
Philando Castile also died for essentially legally carrying because he disclosed to the police that he had a weapon.
Dre, you had a comment. You had a comment about was it an original search warrant like originally? It was actually the first search warrant was by St. Paul police, and they wanted to do just a regular search warrant, but then they wanted to work in like tandem with Minneapolis PD, and Minneapolis said we're only joining if you do a no-knock warrant. So they went with MPD's. That's who caused the no-knock warrant. It was supposed to be with St. Paul police. They said they wanted the regular one. MPD said no. It's obviously an issue with that police department.
I think, and like I said, Philando Castile was essentially killed for legally carrying. He disclosed to the police that he had a firearm, and when he went to go get his wallet and ID out of his glove box, they shot him. And it's essentially the same thing. You don't hear anything from the NRA or from conservatives when it can paint the police or guns or Black Lives Matter in the better light, or police in the bad light of a situation. They're completely silent about Second Amendment. But when a kid shoots up a school, they have everything to say about how this shouldn't affect their ability to own guns. Well, why don't you have that same energy for, when minority communities are carrying guns? So I think that everyone covered it. Yeah.
It starts with an R and ends with a T.
I think that you guys all hit the nail on the head. I don't really want to, like Tay said, it's like constant trauma. I don't really want to like talk about it too much, but I mean, people have to like be aware of what's going on. It's exhausting, but we're gonna get off of what's happening now. Obviously, some unfortunate events to occur in the past week or so, but hopefully next week is a little more bright. So next, we're going to talk about the Winter Olympics. Now, I never realized how few of sports were in the Winter Olympics compared to the Summer Olympics. There's only 15, and the summer has like 46 Olympic sports. And I definitely think they should move some from the summer to the winter. Like indoor sports could easily be done. But I'm going to pose this question to you all. If you are approached by some man in a black suit, and he says,
Squid Game.
And he says, you have 8 years. You have to medal at an Olympic sport, and it can't be a team sport in the Winter Olympics 2 cycles from now. So you have 8 years from this Olympics. Otherwise, I'm coming back, and you and your family, done. Body bags, John Wick style. What Olympic sport, Winter Olympic sport, are you trying to medal in? It can't be a team sport. It has to be an individual sport. So just for if you're an audio listener, I'll say it a lot loud here, but if you're a YouTube viewer, I'll put it on the screen. So the Olympic sports for Winter Olympics are alpine skiing, which is like downhill skiing, biathlon, which is like cross-country skiing, and you shoot a .22 rifle, bobsled, cross-country skiing, curling, figure skating, freestyle skiing, ice hockey, luge, speed skating, skeleton, ski jump, snowboard, and then some other forms of speed skating. So a couple of these are already crossed off because they're team sports. So you're approached by this strange man in the black suit. You have to save you and your family. You have 8 years to dedicate your life to this craft. What are you doing to save you? What sport are you picking?
I got mine. Go ahead, Tay.
No, go ahead first. Go ahead, Tay.
Bro, it's so simple. You don't even need to give me 8 years. Give me tomorrow to place gold in the luge.
Bro, do you know they go like 90 miles an hour down that bitch? Like if you crash, cooked. You don't even have to meet your 8 years. You're cooked. I get that. I understand. I'm saying like if you crash, like you can die. Like
I'm gonna die anyway.
I understand. I understand the pick. The pick makes sense. The pick makes sense. Like luge or skeleton.
Yes,
luge or skeleton makes sense. I understand the pick given the circumstances.
I've been watching some luge too. It's just rows. So I will go to the gym every week for the 8 years and just do rows, and then I'll do that, and then you just gotta
like rock
whip your hands like this on the ice. Lay
it.
down.
But you have to steer,
Boom.
so they steer with their feet. I didn't know that. I did not know.
Yes.
There's like things that they can steer with on their feet. I don't know. Tell you. Oh.
You want to stay off the wall. You want to stay low on the wall. You can't be touching the tops of the walls. And gold easily. I'm gonna get a little belly on me too. All the lugers got bellies on them. You got to have that center of gravity. We're gonna be eating good. Go ahead, Tay. My bad.
Put me in the curling.
You don't know about no curling.
That seemed like the most simplest.
Isn't that a team sport though?
Other than the luge.
Team. It's a team sport.
Yeah, it's team.
It can't be individual.
No,
you can't throw the rock and sweep.
Yeah.
What is it called?
It's a broom.
Yeah, you can't broom and throw those stones. They call them stones too.
Well, while Tay's looking, I think that luge and skeleton, I think, are the right choices. But I think my pick might be cross-country skiing. There's a sprinting version. I think
The sprint looks impossible.
Well, I don't think I would. I think I'm dead no matter what I pick. But I think that if I cut like 30, 40 pounds, I think they weigh about 170, 160, and I'm just training, skiing every day. And the thing about cross country skiing is that it doesn't seem like a skill floor, because some of these people have been doing these sports for their whole lives, whereas I can't catch up to them on the skill, like snowboarding, skiing, some of these other stuff. There's so much technique involved. Like I can't catch up to them in 8 years. They've been doing it since they were kids. Whereas cross country skiing, I feel like is something that is just a physical floor that if I have 8 years to train for, I can hopefully. I don't think I'll do it, but it gives me the best shot at making it, because I don't know if there's many people my size that are like losing and skeletoning. I'm guessing not.
You said metal, right? You just got
metal,
no
yeah.
gold.
Bronze. If you get bronze, you're good.
Yeah, bro, go ahead, sign me up for cross country skiing, or I'm out, bro. I think I got the endurance to.
How long is it?
The sprint is like 3 minutes. It's like a 3-minute race.
I watched the sprint. It looks impossible. You got to go uphill. No,
I'm gonna be training,
like all the girls got done and just dead.
I'm gonna be training like Tanjiro.
How long is the cross country?
I don't know how far it is. I'm not an expert. I just watched it. I've been watching it, but
Every day.
No matter what sport I pick in this one, I'm dead. 100%. I don't think I'm not built for.
You're not built. Sports. You're not built for the code.
I'm not built for it. I mean, I guess I'll do. It's either out of biathlon or.
What about ski jump, bro? What about ski jump?
I was looking at ski jump. I
feel like I'd be most scared about killing myself before the 8 years. Like,
you just have to have big balls.
He's like the day before, like, can I make this?
I think I'm going snowboarding, bro. Fuck out of Think about it. If I had 8 years.
What event are you doing in snowboarding?
I would just move to Denver, Colorado, or something.
That's a long time.
I'll move out and literally just snowboard all day.
That is a long time.
It's not a long time, though. It's not a long time.
He got a point.
The competition's too hard.
And we'll
you'll beat Sean.
We'll
talk
White about this.
First year, I'm
Sean White washed.
He's
35. He washed.
Second year,
Mountain Dew, baby.
Second year, that's when I start, man. I already got some type of foundation of snowboarding. I snowboarded before.
My issue.
Do you want to go snowboarding this weekend? I want to see what you got.
I'm good. That part of my
the issue with the issue with some of these is that you can't really train. Like, so I can keep getting in skiing shape in the summer. Like, even though it's not skiing, I can do things. Snowboarding and skiing and stuff, and some of those things, I don't know about bobsled and luge. They might have places in the winter where they keep the ice cold, but like the snowboard season in Denver and Portland and stuff like that, it might be max 8 months out of the year, but it's usually like 7-ish that you're getting. So you're losing like 5 months out of the year. So you can't even train full time for some of the, like, if you choose snowboarding. You can do other stuff. There's nothing to do for snowboarding to train for snowboarding other than snowboard, because it's not a condition.
They have indoor training now. It's
not a conditioning thing. It's a technique thing. Like, it's super technical sport.
Conditioning will probably definitely help your overall performance. Yeah, core and everything.
I feel like I'm in better shape than a lot of these snowboarders in the Olympics. They just have the technical floor.
But I feel like
much
it will
higher
help
than me.
though. If you just think if you're working out and conditioning.
Put that.
I think I'm in better shape than a considerable amount of snowboarders.
Yeah, that's wild, bro. Dav said biathlon. Which, if you don't know, if you're listening, that's skiing and shooting at the same time.
It's not like down.
Dad's gonna be out there with a Glock. With a Glock, bro.
You stop, you shoot, you keep going.
No, it's up and downhill. It's up and downhill.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, I'm screwed. I don't know what y'all want me to do. Yeah. I'm gonna be one luge.
You gonna be out there with the blicky?
Cross country skiing.
What?
Yeah.
Luge.
Yeah.
Luge. That's a good way to put it, Dre.
Yeah, I would have to go across country skiing because everything else seems impossible. I'm
Have you ever
surprised nobody
skied
said
before?
speed skating. No.
I've only snowboarded.
No, Tay?
No.
I need to learn how to ski.
We did.
Not at all.
We're dead.
No. When? Bro, we did.
We should all go soon. And
every time I try something, I break
team.
something. Like I break my leg. Last time I did the off-roading stuff with my truck. It wasn't good. Broke my step.
If the Jamaicans can do a bobsled team, I think
Bro,
we can
that's
do a
what I
bobsled
was
team.
thinking. I was like, how do they? They don't. It's no ice in
Because
Jamaica.
the courses
How
are
do
like
they even
the courses
qualify?
are
look
like
at
ice
the-
rinks. Like
what
they
are the
keep them. I
bobsled
think they keep them
positions?
cold so they
Let's make a
can
bobsled team.
like practice.
I'm like, how are they even qualifying for this? There's no ice in Jamaica.
Did you not see the movie?
I never watched that movie. I've never
Oh, well,
watched that movie.
It was like '90s movie. I feel like I know what you're talking about. It's like it was like a movie when we was
Yes.
kids.
You don't know what Cool
I know
Runnings
what it is. I've never
That's when
watched
we was
it.
kids. That's what I'm asking. When we was kids.
In Black History Month, y'all know about Cool Runnings.
It's
Bro,
February.
You just gonna gaslight. You ain't gonna answer my question, bro. You're not gonna answer my question.
That's short.
What'd you say, bro?
I don't know what positions we play. I don't understand what these do. But yes, we would be a fire bobsled team. The brochure
Anyway,
bobsled team.
to finish up
Definitely
on
not.
Winter Olympics, I just want to really quickly, like this is Shaun White's last Olympics. He barely made it through trials, I think, as I understand it. But just like how influential because I don't know anything shit about Winter Olympics, about winter sports, but I always knew who Shaun White was. Like, what a pioneer! Obviously, he did his thing in skateboarding too, but just a pioneer to the sport. Props to Shaun White. Hopefully, he can get a medal or something in his way out. I mean, I know he's not the favorite at all, but just his introduced the sport to probably so many people, and good for him. Seems like a good guy.
Mountain Dews, baby.
Question for the brochureless. Would you, like, without like the equipment or anything, would you be able to recognize Shaun White more or Tony Hawk?
Sean, I would
Short
recognize.
Tony?
I would recognize
No, Shaun
the
White.
hair,
Shaun White.
the
The
hair.
Shaun White.
The
I would
hair.
for sure recognize Shaun White because Tony Hawk would look like a
Tony Hawk
average
would
white
let you do
dude.
my taxes, bro.
Yeah,
See how he do
bro.
my taxes.
If I see that big red hair,
He
if I
has
see that
short
big
hair
red
now.
I'm
He
He don't
like,
has
got the
short
big red hair
now.
no more.
oh, he don't.
He
Yeah,
has short hair
it's
now.
like Tunde's
he
length
got-
now.
So
But
I think you
I,
still recognize him.
No, if he got the short hair, I won't recognize him. I'll
Yes,
recognize
you
him.
will.
Yeah.
It's orange.
Bro, how many? Come on,
Mountain Dews, baby.
bro. I only remember him from having a big red hair. I'll be like, yeah, this is some white dude with red hair, and then I would be like, oh, I would for sure recognize Tony Hawk more than Shaun White with short hair now.
As soon as you black on a mountain snowboarding, they call you Sean Black.
Bro,
I do just want to say though, I saw a TikTok about like a black snowboard meetup in Utah, or Colorado, or something like that. One, I would totally attend that. But
Yeah,
I
I've
also
seen that
want to
too.
say, like, if you're a minority, because obviously, like, winter sports are very dominated by white people. Just there's class things associated with, very expensive usually, or just generally the areas, Colorado, Oregon, Utah, like those are very white spaces. But if you like have the opportunity as a minority, whether it be black, brown, Hispanic, etc., to like try winter sports, I strongly encourage you because it is so fun, and you're like isolating yourself from, I think, a great experience. Like, and it's like to take snowboarding trips and to go to the mountain and then like have a reason to only experience snow when you feel like it. I don't know. It's a great time. I strongly encourage everyone to at least try it. All right. So our next segment coming up is a new segment, but we'll bring it back very often. It's called the legislature. So obviously we're the brochure list, and in this government, we have a legislature in which we come together and we vote on things or rank things. So on today's legislator, we are ranking the Marvel movies, mostly commonly known as the MCU, the Marvel comic book universe. So we won't be including things like Daredevil or some of the one-offs that are outside the universe, the original Spider-Man movies. Everything that strictly involves, the commonly referred to now as like the Avengers, etc. As a quick aside before we get into it, I will say that if we were including things in the general Marvel universe, Blade 2 would be number one on my list. I can't wait for Mahershala because Blade is the best Marvel superhero, and that was my entry into Marvel. So, one love. Yep.
We cheering for everybody who black.
But we're going to get into this. So, but we're going to start with is the bottom 5 rankings. So we're going to see everyone's bottom 5 rankings for the Marvel comic book universe, and then we'll also show a composite rank that everyone has together. So on the screen, it popped up here. You can see from left to right, myself, Dabs, Tunde, Dante, and then our composite rank. So I'll name off the composites first. You can see -1 being the bottom, the last ranked movie in our Marvel rankings, and number 5 being the 5th from last. So I believe there's 27 or some odd movies in the Marvel comic book universe. So number 1, or I'll start from 5. In the 5th place of worst movies, we have The Incredible Hulk. So if people don't remember this one was the Edward Norton film. And I think it was made before that, like the MCU was really like a thing. Was this one before Iron Man? Or it was right after Iron Man?
I think it was right after Iron Man.
No, because
I'm pretty sure it was right after.
Yeah, because
it was
before because it wasn't owned by Disney, I don't think, or something like that.
At the end,
Iron Man came.
Iron Man was like, it was something like that. Yeah.
You're right.
They was
he went to go talk to the. No, it was right after. It was right after.
That's Hulk, and it wasn't.
Yeah, he said.
Yes, it was right after. Because Iron Man came into the bar and talked to his girlfriend dad, the army dude.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not.
The movie is not that bad.
So one thing I want to say is when I was doing these, there's some of these that were pretty far down for me that I felt like, oh, they're fun movies, but it's just like relative to everything else here, like it's at the bottom for me. Like even, like you can see on mine, and we'll talk about it, I'm sure. But I have like Thor down here, and I rewatched Thor this week, and I was like, it's not good, but I could watch it if it was on cable, like, you know what I mean? And that's how I felt about Incredible Hulk. I probably don't remember it that well, and it probably just, part of it probably just didn't age well as compared to a lot of the MCU.
No, I think, I don't know where it was on mine. I can't remember where I put it on mine. It's definitely a work of art.
Coming in at number 4 on our composite rank is Captain Marvel. I think this is it doesn't, so Dabs had it as his last place, and Tunde has his last place as well. So maybe had they bumped it up a little bit, it might have not made it into the bottom 5. But I get why some people might have it low, but I guess it is kind of a polarizing movie because
the movie was fucking trash.
Movie's garbage.
I don't care.
I might have watched it hungover, but I fell asleep.
Trash.
So when I watched Thor, I was like, "There's no way this is worse than Captain Marvel," or there's no way that this is better than Captain Marvel. When I rewatched it, and I watched Dark World again, like, there's no way I could watch Thor, Dark World, or Thor and sit there and say that Captain Marvel was worse than this.
Yeah, no, I can't say with a straight face watching the first 2 Thor movies and be like, yeah, I prefer these 2 over Captain Marvel.
I rock with them.
I just can't, bro.
I rock with them Thor movies.
Compared to Thor Ragnarok,
You have Thor Dark World as your number 3 worst. What do you mean they were cold? Yes, you.
Gotcha right there. Dami, number 3.
I meant Thor 1. Thor 1 cold. There's one part where he drinking the beer and say, throw it down on the ground and say, another. Best part.
I mean, I feel like that goes back to like Trey's point. It's just like a lot of these movies are fun, but like compared to like all the other movies that have come out, it's just kind of like those kind of took like a backseat. Like the Thor movies.
I kind of took the trash ones at the bottom, look at the ones I don't care about.
Yeah, I don't care about any of the first 2 Thor movies. I love Thor Ragnarok. That's in my top 5.
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok is fire. We'll get to that when we get to our top 10. But I think that I also could say the same thing about Ant-Man and the Wasp. I thought that was worse than Captain Marvel for sure. Like, that movie is so unmemorable in my opinion, and the only redeeming factor is that it like has some lead into an Endgame, essentially. That's the only redeeming quality. Rank
it higher.
So we have Captain Marvel at 4. At 3rd from last, we have Ant-Man, and only one of us, 3 of us have it in our bottom 5. So I only have Ant-Man and the Wasp, but 3 of you have Ant-Man in your bottom 5.
Ant-Man's not a fun. He's an Ant-Man.
Ant-Man was just fillers. When I was bored with.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like, I know Kang is coming and everything. That's gonna be like one of his main villains. But like, I have not watched any of the Ant-Man movies. That's why they.
Ant-Man.
That's why they
give him a better name.
Bro, that's why they at the bottom for me, bro. It's no interest
because he can get big too. He can get big
cool
too.
In the Avengers.
So I don't
get in the comics.
The name. It's just bad marketing.
He cold in the comics.
It's just bad
Yeah,
marketing.
bad marketing. Bad marketing. I mean, they had T.I. in the movie. Come on.
Do you think that it's bad? Like, I know
Tip in the
I know
movie.
everyone loves
name.
Paul Rudd, but do you think it's bad to have him as a superhero? Like, do you think it's not like badass enough to like make a good superhero movie?
No. I think
Solo movie, yes.
he's a good.
When it's one of the ensemble movies, perfect. His comedic relief
Yeah,
is
I love his
A1,
Ant-Man.
like the Avengers and stuff.
Like I said, he's great in like the group Avenger movies when he's not like the sole superhero.
Yes.
Like I'm not gonna
Yes.
watch a sole superhero movie with Ant-Man. I'm just not gonna do that. But like
How do-
with like a group and like his comedic timing and then how he's useful
Yeah.
in some moments as well. Like, oh yeah, I'll watch Ant-Man all day, but I'm not watching a solo.
He's got a bad name.
Yeah, I'm not watching a
Bad
solo
name.
Ant-Man movie. I'm sorry, Paul Rudd. I'm sorry, Marvel. I just can't.
There's another Marvel character who can change size like that, but I think they can only get big. And he has a cool name. I can't remember. His name's like Titan. I can't remember what his name is. But he's like cooler to me.
He's
because
clearly
he's
so
just-
cool
his
because
name
you
isn't
don't know who the
Ant-Man.
fuck he is.
Yo,
Bro.
this man out of here.
All right, boo this man.
Tomato.
Ant-Man.
Throwing tomatoes.
Ant-Man just need a makeover. He just need queer eyes.
Bro, it's another
That's his
Ant-Man
name.
movie. That's the
Uh,
craziest part about all this.
That's the one with Kang. So like, I might watch that one, but I'm not gonna watch the other two.
Yeah. So
I'm not gonna
in
watch
our
them.
in our third slot we have Ant-Man 1. In our second from last spot we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I think all the same general principles can apply. And then and dead last we have Thor: Dark World. Now,
Who was the villain in Ant-Man and Wasp?
that's the problem. That's the problem because I don't remember.
It was like a guy that mixed girl.
It was an old mixed girl.
Like a
She was
It was
like a
mixed
ghost
girl.
or
with
something.
the quantum realm.
Oh
Was it
yeah,
Lawrence
it was
Fishburne?
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was that
It was
girl in that
Lawrence
white
Fishburne.
costume and she was going invisible. Lawrence
What you
Fishburne.
just say?
Was it Lawrence?
That's like her
Hey,
dad
bro,
or
get
something.
him out of here, tomato.
Cut him out. Cut him out.
No, bro.
Cut-
the first
Wasn't
one
it
was that
Lawrence
one dude with the
Fishburne?
bald
No, that was like her
hair,
dad or
They
something.
used to play.
Yeah.
What did he play? He played the enemy and the Green Lantern the first time, I think.
Lawrence Fishburne isn't this shit. It's Bill Foster.
He's not
He
the
was.
villain.
Who is the dude you remember how I said there was one? You remember there was one who I said was the big guy? That's Bill Foster. His name's
Wasn't he the one that
Gigantor or
worked
something
with
like
Hank
that.
Pym or something like that in the past?
Yes, and he's Goliath. He's Goliath. That's who it
Yeah,
is.
that was pretty unmemorable film.
So
I don't remember that.
And
shit.
lastly is in last place we have Thor: Dark World. I think that's even less memorable than Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
That was I literally watched
pretty
that
bad.
movie. I finished it right before this started, and that's a bad movie.
it does bring
That's a
in the
bad
ether
movie.
though. The red
The
red
stone, yeah, that's the
stone.
only good
The-
part. But the elves,
It does bring in the
elves,
ether.
stupid. Yeah.
So
stupid.
I'll give everyone the chance to we'll get off of this bottom 5 and head into our top 10 soon, but I am really surprised to see as second to last is Shang-Chi
you go.
on Tunde's rank.
I knew it was
Oh
coming.
yeah.
That is
we gotta talk
wild
about
to
that.
me.
Two?
That is
I-
wild
I
to me.
wasn't into it.
What was you not into?
I wasn't
Second
into
from
it.
Wow.
last?
Like,
Below
second from
Ant-Man?
last?
Below Thor: Dark World? Like, what?
Yeah, Shang-Chi
Wow.
did not
That's
do it for
gotta
me.
be
So that's
racist.
the second to last worst Marvel movie you've seen.
Like, that...
I think the rings are stupid.
Why?
You
Why?
know, it was just.
Can I get
just
some?
think it's stupid.
Can I get some?
Stupider
Can I
than
get some?
Ant-Man shrinking?
It just doesn't like it just
Two
doesn't.
said
like,
it's
fit
not
into the
giving.
MCU
It's
for
not
me.
giving.
Like,
Like,
Not given.
So you're not gonna tell me that last fight with that?
they were-
that
they
shit
were-
was not sweet?
there was...
there was no cameos. There were no cameos. It had nothing to do with the
It's-
MCU.
It's
What did
fourth
that have to do?
phase. It's
Was
about
it
to
Wong?
kick off fourth
They had Wong
phase.
come in.
Yeah.
That the Sorcerer
Huh?
Supreme come at the end. What you talking about?
Who
Yeah,
Wong?
Wong. They had the Sorcerer Supreme.
Wong be everywhere besides his own
Bro, he
movie.
the Sorcerer Supreme.
Bro, it's just like it had nothing to do with the Marvel universe to me. Like maybe a standalone movie would
Bro,
have
he
been
about to
good.
come in this bitch whooping everybody ass. Honestly, like, and I think like the biggest argument for Shang-Chi is that if you like watch that movie and compare a lot of the action, I don't think there was better like fighting, and probably maybe only like one or two other Marvel films was there better fighting than in Shang-Chi.
Sure,
I will say this.
I'm getting confused.
My only gripe with Shang-Chi was his suit. They had my man in like a traditional. They had my man in a traditional, Chinese top, look elegant.
And he had sneaks on. He had skinny jeans and sneaks on, bro. That was trash.
Hey,
it's not given. It's not given at all.
Every introduction to a superhero, they suit not the best. Let's just say that. As it grows on, the suit becomes better.
Nah, bro. Sneakers though. They can.
I'm actually. I don't like this movie so much. I'm getting confused with the story of Shang-Chi and that movie of Snake Eyes that I saw.
That's gotta be racist.
Yeah, bro.
That's gotta be racist.
Hey, yo, get this man out of here.
No, if you watch both movies, it's almost like the same. Like he's getting revenge against his father and stuff like that. Like it's almost the same movie. Go watch
anyway,
it. Go watch both of them. Back to back.
Anyway.
We're gonna move right on.
I am kind of surprised to see Iron Man 2 so low. I'm not gonna really push back too hard. Do you like just really dislike the last two? 3 was like mid, whatever. I watched it like the last few days, but 2 I thought was like
option.
Tony Stark makes up for it.
That's what my big redeeming factor, like the Iron Man movie, is that Robert Downey is by far the best actor and like the portrayer and like in his movies, and he does it so good. Like it's inseparable. Like some of these characters, I feel like you could have cast someone else. Like there's no other Robert Downey. Like there's no other Tony.
Yeah, no more.
You gotta give him some points for that, Dax.
Iron Man 1 was probably the greatest. I'm not gonna go into it, but Iron Man 1 was very good. It had a great storyline, everything. Iron Man 2 was fucking garbage. Iron Man 3 was fucking garbage. Both of those movies, the only reason why you got a 3
was in Monaco.
Iron Man 2 was lacking, and everybody knew it when they left the theater. Second thing is, no, it wasn't, bro.
2 was cold.
2 was nice. 2 was nice.
I'm gonna go watch right now.
2's two decent. I don't have it. Hold on.
It was when he was fighting Hammer. Hammer went and hired the Asian guy, with the whips, and he made his own suit. He wanted to get revenge because Howard Stark split off with his dad because his dad was trying to do some evil shit, and he got mad about it.
Yeah, it ain't high on my list too, but I ain't gonna have it bottom 5.
And the thing about Iron Man and his movies is Tony Stark has. Maybe the only other competitor I might say is Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Other than him, I don't think there's any parallel to his character progression throughout his movies and how like the world around him affects how his character progressed. And I realized that because I rewatched all the Iron Mans last week, and how the first movie affected how he was moving in the second movie, and then in the third movie, as a result of the Avengers, he had like anxiety, and that like was a big factor in the movie. And then the Avengers and the third movie influenced Age of Ultron a lot because that's why he wanted to build Ultron. Like I don't know, just Robert Downey and Iron Man within the universe, I think just in itself like gives it this bump in my head.
The thing is, his Avengers movies, when he was the Avengers and those movies with Ultron and shit, are better than 10 times better than Iron Man 3, by far.
I will say for the Iron Man, I mean, I know he a man in a suit, but he did probably have the least compelling villains.
That's
that
fair.
was the other
That's
thing.
fair.
I hate it.
I don't like the Mandolin.
Yeah, he did. He had probably the third. Like the third villain. Like it was
I felt like they had to weaken him to make him meet, like to get him down to his villains, because it felt like he's far stronger, especially in the Avengers movies, than what he was dealing with in his own movies. So that's a decent point.
I guess that's the only knock for Iron Man for me. Is just like he probably had the least out of all the heroes. He probably had like the least.
Both of the ending 2 movies. He didn't have his armor the most of the time. Like it was like half his armor, or it was something like that. So like that's why I didn't like him either.
Yeah,
it was like so many suits that he was fighting, and then he wouldn't have all his armor. It was stupid. He always got nerfed.
Are we gonna just pass up on Dre having Endgame as his second worst?
Wow!
I thought it was a fucking typo. What is wrong with you?
I didn't have Endgame. I got Endgame at top 10. So
I hate Endgame,
What the
and
fuck?
the more I watch it, the more I hate it. Like, it's
Wow.
like it's
Reasoning.
yeah. So let me get in my bag.
Nope.
Let me get in my
Cut 'em.
bag.
No.
Let me get in my bag.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Uh,
let me
you
get
got
in
2
my
minutes.
bag.
You got 2
I
minutes.
hate Endgame because I felt like it did a bunch of unnecessary bullshit to characters that didn't even happen. Iron Man didn't need to die. It didn't need to happen. Steve Rogers didn't need to go in the past. That was fucking stupid, and he's racist for doing that. He just went in the past and just let everything happen. That's racist. The whole Bruce Banner like being this wimpy Hulk ass, like that's the best part about one. Can you stop snapping your fingers? The best part about the Hulk is him like going crazy and like beating the hell out of everyone, and then he's this weak ass Bruce Banner. Like that was ass. The Thor shit with him being super weak and fat the whole time, that was so played. That was so played
Character
so quick
development, man.
because this man is thousands of years old, and he down bad like this on the PS4, getting beat down by kids on Fortnite. Yeah, bro. Yeah, all those things. Y'all got it, bro. That movie, I can't watch it. I can't watch it.
Dre,
Negative
listen.
You made it your
like
second
negative
worst.
two?
What would you have done? You would have just,
Go ahead.
okay, in Endgame, what did you want to happen? Because everything that happened, I
Yeah,
didn't
bro.
expect for it to
Let's
happen.
go, Stan.
It wasn't like something that I was expecting. I could have expected, okay, these niggas came back and
Yeah.
they beat them. Done. Like, it was...
So
Yeah, like that's
so there's some like fire scene, like the fighting and all that was fire. Like Captain America picking up the hammer, fire. Like that was cold, and like I get that.
So put it in the middle of the table.
that can't be two, bro.
What?
You gotta put it in the middle of
That
the
can't
table,
be
bro.
negative two.
Bro, all
Like,
those
at
things
least-
were so annoying and so bad to me. Like it just ruined the movie. The half of the
It
characters,
don't-
half of
it
the
don't
characters and the big characters got ruined. Like you didn't need to kill Tony. It didn't have to happen. Captain Marvel could have snapped her fingers. She could have just snapped her
On
fingers.
your left.
She didn't have he didn't have to die. Steve Rogers, like I said, he didn't need to go in the past. That was weird. You're a weirdo. I liked you. I was starting to come around to you, and now you're weird. Yeah.
He was trying to get in Peggy Cheese.
Wild.
He waited hundreds.
I don't know what I would have done. I read the original Endgame comic, whatever the series was, and like it's a pretty old comic. I thought that was fine, but I don't know. I'm not a movie writer. I just didn't like it. Like I don't think every movie I don't like I have to come up with a better explanation how they do it. I just think that compared to everything else, like for me to dislike that many big portions of a movie and like dislike the characters so much, I think warrants it. That's five of the Avengers or four of the Avengers that I didn't like how they handled in the movie. Like that's yeah.
Dre, I got a question for you. Did you go see it on opening day?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Did you clap? Did you cry? Did you
No.
do anything like that? Don't lie to
I
me.
swear to
You
God,
don't clap
I
in
didn't
the
do
theater.
that.
You did not...
You are
when
capping.
Captain America
I-
when Captain America when the hammer went towards him, bro, that scene alone.
No, I didn't stand up and
clap?
clap in this bitch. What the fuck do I look like, bro? Clapping in the movie theater.
That scene alone.
I was
is-
in that.
is
I was
top
in
10.
Oregon
Just
in the
that
movie
scene
theater by
alone is
myself
worthy
like
of a top 10
these,
spot.
and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Cap got the hammer." You know, like
Dre, so Captain
I'm
Marvel
like,
better
man.
than Endgame, bro?
Come on now.
Cap. What is so good about Endgame besides them
What's so
finishing
good
the
about Captain
story?
Marvel?
Like,
Hey, look, bro. Hey,
it's
go
just
to the top
it's
five.
not
Go to the
bad.
top
It's not
five,
that
bro.
bad.
Yeah.
We're
Move
gonna
on.
move on because we're gonna be all
Move
night.
it. Tomato this man. Tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Tomatoes.
Tomato.
Ooh.
Boo.
Ooh, this man.
All right, so this is our 6 through 10 ranking. We'll kind of skate through the 6 through 10 unless anything piques anyone's interest. But at number 10 composite ranking, we have Spider-Man: Far From Home. Number 9, we have Avengers: Age of Ultron. Number 8, we have Captain America: Civil War. Number 7. The Avengers, the original Avengers movie, and then 6 is Iron Man, the original Iron Man movie. And I will say you should definitely go watch this on YouTube so you can see everyone's rankings together and the composites. But we'll try and talk you through at least the composite portion. I don't know if this part. I don't think there's anything controversial that I see on this portion. I think I have Eternals the highest of everyone at 9.
It was good. I do want to give a shout out to one thing. I want to give my roses. I want to give my roses to Avengers: Age of Ultron, which is the second best Avengers movie, hand down. People hate on that
Well, there's
movie.
only 4,
I think Ultron is one of the best villains.
It's 3.
Yes, I don't care how many.
3.
I
Yeah,
must have
it's
had
two.
to- I had
If you
to have
combine
had it higher than 6.
Endgame and Infinity War, yeah. If you
I mean,
combine those last two
if you
together,
count-
then yeah,
yeah.
3.
Yes.
Go ahead. So
it's amazing. Ultron is an amazing.
Tunde knows I
villain.
pushed back on him about Age of Ultron a lot, like how much I do, like essentially just like when I first started this, it was my 5th last. It skated up to the middle. It skated up to the mean. I watched a few of these to see if I still just like them as much as I did before, and I feel like Age of Ultron is a quintessential second trilogy movie. It didn't add anything for me, and I think that's my biggest thing.
It's amazing.
The Hulk Black Widow thing is so weird now that I've watched the movie again. Why were they a thing? Like, why did that happen? Like, I guess they just added it to calm the Hulk down, but it didn't add it. Like, they had a lot of essentials in there that they didn't want to obviously insert into Infinity War, so I feel like that's the purpose that Age of Ultron served. It wasn't giving for me, but I did skirt it up my rankings because Tunde knows I push back on Age of Ultron a lot.
Yeah, I enjoy Age of Ultron. I feel like at first I wasn't that high on it, but then when I looked at the grand scheme of things, and I was like, hold on, like this, like it kind of ties in
villain.
like a lot of key stories that we'll see play out. I mean, they introduced Thanos at the end of the movie, and he's like, I'll do it myself. I'm just like, oh man, and just like
Tony Stark's failure.
Ultron,
I mean,
and then Ultron
that he had.
Ultron as a villain, feel like it's very underrated. And overall,
He hard.
I mean, along with Thanos, his values never swayed. Like he seen one way, and this is what he was gonna do. He seen how messed up humankind was. He took 5 seconds at the internet. How messed up humankind was to say, all right,
it's
y'all
2
gotta
scenes. It's 2 scenes.
And that was it.
Ultron was low key right. Every movie that a villain is low key right in is important. I don't know about the end when he was like doing end the world.
Why was he low key right? What is your?
At first, it wasn't about destroying the world. It was about
because so sorry. Most artificial intelligence have the same reasons for why the artificial. It's that humans are gonna be what we created the artificial intelligence to protect humans from danger, and it ends up being that humans are the danger to themselves. So I have to protect them from themselves. That's how every artificial intelligence movie ends up going. So I guess like, what did you feel like was so like right about what he was doing?
Because what he was talking about the Avengers in general. He started the whole idea of the Accords and Civil War and all that because of what the Avengers were doing in the first place. Because Iron Man said that. He was like, he was right about us. Then that kind of led into why Tony Stark was right about protecting the world against Thanos. And then that led into when that nigga snapped on Captain America at the beginning of the Endgame and was like, I told you so. Like, all that, like, connected. That's why I like Ultron, just as a villain in general.
Okay. I'm not gonna keep pushing that back on it too hard.
Age of Ultron.
Speaking of villains, speaking of villains that were right, I see a lot of us got a Black Panther in there.
Yeah, you'll see. You don't see it on my 6 through 10, but you'll see it on my 1 through 5. I think he's
I was about to squeeze Black Panther in my top 5. But it ain't make the. It ain't
I have a similar reasoning as Dabs in that when the villain's a little right, like that's why I bumped Black Panther up because I sympathized with Killmonger like so much, like as a villain. Like obviously I'm not gonna say you should go like dominate the world, but I sympathize with Killmonger so much as a villain that it got a lot of weight in my vote. But
that BP was so nerfed in that movie though. That's one thing I don't like about it.
Dabs, I see you got Guardians.
Guardians of the Galaxy was a top tier movie. Both of them. I don't know which y'all was on. Guardians of the Galaxy was lit. Second,
I wasn't gonna say anything, and then now you like talking like it's like cinematic lit. Genius.
Especially the first one. Is that the first one? Yeah, the first one.
6 is kind of high.
Yeah, 6.
Yeah, you got the first one on
6,
there.
yeah.
I just want to know the reasoning having it in your top 6.
Everything. Gru was cool.
I will say.
I thought it was a fun movie.
I will say the first one was more memorable than the second one. The second one I really don't care for. Like it's just like Peter Quill's
Yeah.
reason why he was so different. It kind of went away at the end of the second movie, so it's just kind of, oh well, he's not really a compelling character anymore. But I mean, like, for movies I ranked in the top 10, it was kind of like the feeling they gave me when I first watched them, you know. So I mean, like Guardians of the Galaxy, it was like Dre said, it was a fun movie, but for me, like it was just a fun movie, and that was its purpose. I mean, and it was kind of cool tapping into characters you never.
Yeah, I'm of a similar. So yeah. 2 is very unmemorable for me. Yandu dying was probably the most, I don't know, compelling part of that movie, but.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
that movie like 4 years
it's not
old,
not giving to me. Yeah,
in case.
Guardians 1 was fun. I think I'm also tainted by my opinion on Chris Pratt outside of movies. Makes me not like Guardians of the Galaxy more. But we'll head into our top 5 now. In our composite rankings, number 5, Black Panther. Number 4, Spider-Man: No Way Home. Number 3, Thor: Ragnarok. And number 2, Captain America: Winter Soldier, and then number 1, Avengers: Infinity War. And so
Sweet.
I want to point out immediately is that, you know, Thor is at the bottom for the first 2 movies, but then comes back so strong. You never see this out of trilogies where the third movie just comes back like that. And I think we all have it in our top. 3 of us have it in our top 5. Tunde's, I think, is just outside. Was in the last section.
It was like 7 or 8 or something.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything that I disagree with really here.
I have something to disagree with.
Yeah.
Dre, so, you know, we got us 3 together, got Spider-Man: No Way Home all the way up to the spot of 4. You had no help with that. What did you have it ranked at?
What did I have No Way Home at?
What did you have that ranked?
If someone could check the.
This was not a team effort on this one.
Hold on, I got you.
Yeah.
Dre had No Way Home. Oh, you had No Way Home at 13?
Yeah, you a hater, bro.
13, but
are a
I
hater.
believe
Far From Home
I
was
believe
better?
I had Far From Home higher than anyone else did.
Far From Home was better?
I
didn't
think
like
I had
that
Far
movie.
From Home, but and all right, so and I'll give my reasoning for why I felt.
He was hating on this
I
movie.
just
Go see
felt
it, bro.
that
Ruined my night.
the story of Far From Home like showed a lot of growth in Peter or Tom, however you want to say it, and his character, and like losing his spider sense and having to be independent of Tony because of the homecoming. You know, Tony came around, all that, like showed his independence. And I just felt that the third one just leaned on the cameos to carry the movie. That was my only real gripe. I mean, 13 isn't. I mean, relative to like the movies that are in the top 10, I don't feel like that's that low. I mean, it's just
You can't. How you naming 6 or 7 movies above it? That's my question. What?
because I just didn't felt like it was giving me anything. I don't want to say it wasn't giving me anything other than Toby and Andrew, but I felt all it was giving me. I don't feel like the movie itself was giving me anything.
I get what you're saying. I mean, like the movie No Way Home was definitely a big fan service to, you know, Spider-Man fans, Marvel fans in general, with the cameos. But like you talk about like character development from Far From Home, and I feel like there was a massive jump from character development from Far From Home compared to No Way Home to Far From Home. I mean, like in Far From Home, you still see him, you know, being gullible. You know, being kind of like, you know, trusting and, you know, wanting to. He gave Mysterio like basically weapons of mass destruction to.
He did that dumbass
and then
shit
he
again.
did it
though.
again, but you see like that was like the final straw for where he developed. So like I don't really like from Far From Home, like he was still like a kid, and then in Far From Home I saw him as being like Iron Boy Jr.
In No Way Home.
Like he still had Tony Tech. He made his, when he fought Mysterio in the last battle, he made it with Tony's tech. He didn't make it with Peter Industries. He made it with Tony Stark Industry with his own with his tech. I mean, that's the thing. He has his own industry. But I mean, like I just feel like the overall character development in Peter's and Spider-Man's journey was more full circle in No Way Home. I think Far From Home set up for No Way Home. That's why I got. You know, Far From Home. No Way Home higher. than Far From Home. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's necessarily wrong. Like I said, I just think that it wasn't giving me anything other than fan service as far as the movie goes. And some people was like, well, what else does it have to give you? And like, that's fine. Like, I had it 13. It's not like I had it super low. It just, I think 1, 2, like as far as antagonist, I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I think that Mysterio was like a good villain, and that he played into this like distrust or trust of, like you said, Peter being gullible, or Tom Holland, however you want to say it, being gullible, and him like gaining his spider sense, how being like so integral to how that story was built, with it being illusions and him developing his losing his spider sense, as opposed to when like I'm not saying that they didn't do it good in like Tobey Maguire's Spider, because I think I prefer that the Raimi movies better, but just how integral it was to how the story was built and how he needed a spider sense to beat Mysterio, and then how it came into the play at the end. And then I just don't feel like Willem Dafoe is a great Green Goblin, but like they didn't flesh his character out because there's all these antagonists being brought together in this movie. So I don't feel like you leaned on the best one as a result, and I don't feel like that in that way the antagonist wasn't giving that much or as much, because I have it at 13. Like the fights with like all the stuff with Green Goblin is great, but like that wasn't the whole movie. Jamie Foxx like wasn't giving me anything as Electro. I thought it's probably one of his worst movie performances I think I've ever seen of him. And
Worse?
yeah, I mean, Jamie Foxx is a really good actor, and he has a lot of good movies.
Yeah.
I thought that it was probably one of his like worst performances.
I don't know.
Very funny.
I felt like his performance in this Electro was like refreshing because it was like different universe.
I'm not gonna say that it was worse than his other
He was
Electro.
kinda
Like
sluggy.
that's like I'm not gonna say that, but that was also not a good movie. So
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like
Hey,
the fan service.
What's y'all?
Captain America:
Go ahead,
Winter
Tony.
Soldier was a top tier movie.
What is y'all obsession with?
Winter
that movie?
Soldier?
Bro, that
Not a-
shit
that was
Winter
fire.
Winter Soldier was
Winter
fire,
Soldier
bro.
was
Winter Soldier was
amazing.
fire.
Oh my God.
Bro,
Winter Soldier, the story behind it's
people,
amazing.
like most superhero movies, when the villain, you do.
Yes.
Do I need
Most
to rewatch
superheroes
it?
with a
Yes,
villain is like not like a
It's cold.
he has superpowers. I mean, I would say the Winter Soldier had superpowers because it's like he did. I didn't even realize until watching it a couple times that he had the serum too, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, he had the serum.
Yeah,
he-
they put it in him.
'cause
He
at
just got an
first-
arm
when I
with
first,
it.
When,
He just
when I
got
first
the
watched it, I just
mechanical
like missed
arm.
that or something. I'm like, dog, he is boxing.
yeah.
I was like, he is
Mm, watch that.
boxing
Yeah.
cat, bro.
That scrap
Bro,
at the
that fight
freeway,
scene
at the
with-
freeway with the knife, he
Yeah,
threw the knife
him
up
and
and
I'm gonna have to watch tonight.
They was getting.
I don't know what
active,
scene that
bro.
is.
when he was
sounds
fighting with
gas.
Black Widow, and then Steve
Bro,
had to
that-
come in. He had the knife, and then
Yeah, they
Civil War
getting
was fire.
active,
Civil
bro.
War was,
And then
or
like,
no,
I like
Captain
the
Winter
whole
Soldier.
Hydra. I like the whole how Shield is exposed by Hydra
Mm-hmm.
thing, because like like Cap like I think it's like
Yeah,
a
I'm
year or
watching
so
another
after the years of the Avengers. And, he been under water for like 100 years, and he probably think that Hydra is done. They dissemble. Everybody they handle business, but like all along, like shoot, United States and the Shield, they brought Hydra scientists in to help build weapons for them. So like Hydra was still like at its prime, but it was underground. So I mean, I just feel like the story overall, the fighting, cinematography, I feel like that. I had that number 3, and rightfully
It used
so.
to be
I feel
my
like
number
that's just
one. It used to be
a
my number one until
top-tier
Infinity War came
movie.
along.
That bruh, Cole.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
Cool. So
We
you're gonna
got
have to rewatch that for sure, because it's a great
I'm watching
movie.
tonight.
But yeah, I don't know if anyone else has anything to call out if they see.
We had a clean sweep. With
Yeah,
Avengers
Infinity
Infinity
War
I feel
clean
like
sweep up front at
everybody
number 1. I think that's all around a great movie. I will say it's February, and I'm the only one with Black Panther as my top 5 movie. I'm gonna throw that out
The
there.
end of Infinity War was
But other than that, I think that I don't think there's anything egregious in the top 5.
I like Black Panther. I like Black Panther in Civil War more than his.
Yes,
own
his
movie.
Civil
He's
War
so
arc
cold
is
in,
fire.
Civil War to
Yeah,
me.
it's
Civil
fire.
War, he was getting
Bro,
Civil War.
his
He was
Civil
getting
War
Bucky
Rest in
in
peace.
hands.
So cold in that.
Bucky was like,
What did he say to homeboy? I think it was Clint. When Clint was trying to fight with him, he was like,
Randomly said that
he
shit. I
was
was like,
talking
what?
crazy. He was talking crazy.
EJ.
Yeah.
But that'll wrap up our legislature episode for today. And we'll finish off on our last segment, just like last week, Just the Tip, where one of our bros leaves you with a small tip of information, to maybe live your life with, maybe your week, maybe, your month, I don't know, maybe the year. But I'll be...
You guys wash your asses
I'll be
last week?
presenting the tip this week. And this may come off as controversial. I don't know how people feel about this.
Terrible take.
But my
Pretty
tip,
bad.
and I really think you should all do your own research about this, but stop using fabric softener. Stop using fabric softener. I don't know if people use fabric softener, but it's very popular to use fabric softener. It's bad for your clothes. It's terrible for your clothes. It's not good for the environment. So what fabric softener does, it covers your clothes in wax. And to stop them from staticking up, stop using dryer sheets. The smell, the good smell isn't worth it. If you want your clothes to smell good, you get wool balls and you can put essential oils on them and throw them in the dryer with them. It helps your clothes smell good. But fabric softener is just pushed through propaganda and marketing. It doesn't do anything good. It has all negative effects on the quality of your clothes. It's terrible for workout clothes. It breaks down the fibers and it covers your clothes in film. So stop using fabric softener, save the environment, and save some money. We're signing off. Thanks for joining us.
Enlighten my brother.
See you next week.
Thank you for the enlightenment.
See ya.